or I want to be Hispanics, but if you want, we can just continue to make it easier, you know.
Okay, does anyone? Okay, no problem. Well, yeah, well, we could for sure do it like that then. So give me Genesis 49.
Mm.
We Genesis 49 because we already did Reuben, Simeon and Levi, Judah. All right, I believe after that we went into after Judah is Zebulun. So if it is you want to rock with the want to know a little bit more about the Hispanic tribes, we could take it from that verse on, which is verse 13. From verse 13 onwards. All right.
Right, continue. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships.
All right. Zebulun, which is in the Hebrew, is Zabalawan. All right. Zabalawan in the Hebrew. Who is Zebulun?
Zebulun is the people from Guatemala to Panama.
Right. So, Zebulun is Guatemala to Panama, which is like Central America. All right. Central America. After you leave Mexico, now you're going into Zebulun area. All right. Or Zabalawan and Central America, from Guatemala to Panama. All right. So read it one more time again from the top.
Okay. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea.
Right. Zebulun shall dwell. Go ahead.
And he shall be for an haven of ships.
All right. So from Guatemala to Panama, which islands not islands, but which countries we talking about in there? We're talking about Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Panama, one or two more, Costa Rica, right? I believe that is about it. All right, so Guatemala to Panama. That's the countries. Now Belize is also in there. But like I told you before, Belize was a part of Mexico before. And in the war there, I forget the name of the war, but they had a war that Issachar fought with Esau. And of course, Esau brought in Judah to fight against Issachar. And of course, Judah, there was Israelites who fought with Issachar against the white man. The typical way how they use us in war. So Belize, a lot of people think is Benjamin, but it's not a Benjamite place like Jamaica. It's just like how Puerto Rico, there's Benjamites in Puerto Rico. It's like that. It's like Belize is largely Issachar and Judah. All right, Issachar and Judah, and there are Benjamites there, but it's not. I would not put it in Zebulun. I would just say mostly Issachar. All right, mostly Issachar is there, and of course the brothers who you know. Some of our brothers there are Judah or Benjamin, or maybe even from the other islands. But specifically Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama, that's your Central American line. All right, that's your Central American line. All right. So go ahead, read again.
Okay. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea. And he shall be for an haven of ships.
Right? He shall be for an haven of ships. What is a haven of ships?
Well, it's like a haven is like a refuge.
A refuge.
Right. So
what else?
Haven of ship.
You might need a few of them meanings for this.
Okay, let's see.
Refuge is definitely one, but it ain't the only meaning.
Right. A place of safety. Right?
A place of safety. Go ahead.
Shelter,
Shelter.
sanctuary.
Sanctuary. Right? So it said Zebulun would be a haven for ships. So Zebulun will be a place of refuge, a sanctuary, a resting place, a place where ships could get shelter. Right? So
Right.
now we know Zebulun is Guatemala to Panama. What comes to your mind now as you're reading that scripture? Now remember, keep in mind, and this is what you always want to reiterate to somebody when you're breaking this down. Because of course, everybody will start saying, well, this happened to this people, that happened to this people. But this was prophesied to happen to the children of Israel in the last days. That's what Jacob told the 12 tribes. He told them, gather around, let me tell you what will befall you in the last days. And we in the last days right now. You understand? So now, what comes to mind when you talk about haven of ships?
A haven of ships meaning place of safety on ships. Some ships will take us to a place of safety. I mean,
not take us to a place of safety, because of course the ships that brought us didn't take us to safety at all, right?
can.
Slave ships was not taking us to a place of safety. It took us from a place of relative safety, relative meaning in comparison to, not that we were really ever safe because we wasn't in our land, but it took us from a place of relative safety into a place that was not safe at all. Right?
Right.
What are we talking about now? We're talking about the Panama Canal. All right? The Panama
Canal.
The Panama Canal. All right? You ever heard about the Panama Canal before?
No.
No sweat. No sweat. I didn't expect you to. You ain't got no business in there. You ain't got no ships. you don't need to know about the damn canal. Hell, you need to know about how not to get shot from the police. That's what you need to know about. Right? And how to not end up in some East Indian prison. Right? Some East Indian cop and East Indian magistrate put you in jail. You couldn't give two rats behind about a Panama Canal. All right?
Right.
The Panama Canal, let me see if I could show you a video of it. All right? And you listen, you ain't have to feel no how about not even knowing about it. Because it's the white man's architecture or invention to increase his finances in trade. Right? Okay. Before the Panama Canal, when they wanted to do trade from Europe, from Britain or the west coast of Africa to the other side of the Americas, not the eastern side where we are at, not the New York and Florida and Miami side or the Trinidad and the Venezuela side. Let's say they wanted to bring stuff from Britain to California. They had two options at that time. It would one be to go all the way across to the eastern edge of Russia, put it on a boat, and then sail to California, which would take maybe a year and a half, 2 years. By that time, your goods done spoil. Or you could sail from Britain or Europe or Spain down to the bottom of South America and then sail back up. That is very time consuming as well, anywhere from 6 months to a year. All right. At that time, you're engaging the extreme temperatures. You're going from temperate to tropical, back to temperate again, back to tropical. Changing currents, navigation. You're going to have to carry enough food for your staff. It just wasn't financially feasible. Or you could land on the East Coast and, of course, walk it across, or, you know, get some horses and pull it across the open terrain till the West Coast. You get the point? And vice versa. If you wanted stuff from the West side to go over to Britain, that's what you would have to do. And it was limiting the amount of trade to the point where trade would be reduced to only what was absolutely necessary to trade between those regions. You get the point? Because the cost was so high. You know what I mean? You wouldn't go there to buy, you know, leather if you could get leather anywhere else. You get the point?
Right.
So what the white man did was, through Panama, I want to say drill a hole, but he pushed through, or he bored through the land. He made like a tunnel, like how they have tunnels underground. You ain't gonna have too much of that in Trinidad, but, like, you know, you come to America, you can find on the highway some tunnels go underground, underwater, where the white man is able to bore through land. You get the point? Bore through land, and he bore a way through the land of Panama to make a canal. All right, to make a canal, a place where ships that would come from Europe could go directly to the eastern side of Central America, dock there, refuel, let the sailors, everybody come off, just take a day or two rest, then go through to the other side. And that cut down the time for trade tremendously. All right?
Right.
Let me get some stats on this thing here for you. 1 second. It's 34 miles wide, 48 miles long. All right? It connected the Atlantic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean. All right? One second. Bear with me one. All right, so this is an aerial view of the canal. All right, this is an aerial view of the canal. Let me let you all see here how I'm doing this. All right, there's an aerial view of the canal. All right, so you see, this is trade. This is like an oil tanker. All right, Galawan.
Right, come.
And they have, ways of damming the water up so the boat could come in, they could drain this canal so the boat sit, then they could pump water into it to get it floating again so that it could rise, be more buoyant to drive all the way through to the other side. Now, this was not possible before, I think, 1880. I think that's when they started work on the canal. And I think it was completed in 1915 or 1920, something like that. All right. And that's the joker right there. Right? You see, that's why they have these tugboats to help pull it through. Because, of course, you don't want the boat, the actual boat engine running in this narrow canal here. It'll create too much ripples because of the power needed to drive a boat of this size. So what they do is they cut off the boat, they sail it in. They cut off the boat somewhere up here, cut off the engine somewhere in the entrance, let the current and the momentum, push the boat forward. The tugs will come and get it, and they will start pulling the boat in, guiding it in, guiding it in, and they have these little gates here, right, all the way through. Right, as you can see, the tug is pulling it out now, and once it gets out onto the other side, which would be what, the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific, whichever one, I got there. All right. Then you know the engines fire up and they go ahead. All right. Now, trade was so by the time they started the canal till now, trade was so strong among them that they decided to expand the canal. All right. They expanded the canal. You understand? Because he was doing so much damn trade in the zone that they had to expand it. Hold on one second.
Panama Canal celebrates 100.
All right, this was, I think, 2014. 2014, I believe, is when they expanded it. 1 second. Bear with me again.
Panama Canal celebrates 100th anniversary. The expansion of the Panama Canal, aimed to be completed by June 2015, will open up the 81-kilometer channel to even bigger vessels. The canal currently uses locks to raise ships 26 meters above sea level. Water from the artificial lake enters by gravity into locks and causes ships to rise. The ships then travel through the artificial lakes and channels until they reach the lock.
Now, y'all see this. This is, listen, this is so heavy, brother. This is why, like Commander Gen.YAHANNA is always so right in what he says. Like the white man, he is meant to be a slave. Like he comes up with all this technology, and of course, he definitely gonna get it from an example from us. Because of course, we the inventors of the earth, we're the brains of the earth. But when it comes to him wanting to do something, he'll definitely go get it done. He's the one that could sit in a cubicle for 8 hours and keep his head down and work and not go crazy from lack of socializing. Now they expanding the damn canal to allow bigger ships.
100th anniversary.
And this is what he
The expansion
did.
of the Panama Canal, aimed to be completed by June 2015, will open up the 81-kilometer channel to even bigger vessels. The canal currently uses
So now to get the ship through the terrain, he built a series of gates and locks.
To raise ships 26 meters above.
So the ship come in here. It comes in. Oh damn, Salaki. This little gate here on the bottom opens up for water from this side to drain down here and push the boat up. Once it pushes the boat up, they close it off and open this green gate.
Water from the artificial
and it sails through. Right? As it sails through, they close this gate. This black gate on the bottom opens up. Water from here sails, flows down, pushes the boat up more. And then that's the continuous cycle.
The ships then travel through the artificial lakes and channels until they reach the locks to the sea on the other side. 2 new sets of locks are being constructed to supplement the already existing locks at the Atlantic and Pacific entrances of the channel. The new locks will be larger but use less water than the existing ones. Nearby basins will recycle the water from the locks as they are emptied and use the water to partially filter.
All right. That's about we need to know all of that. This ain't a science class. But my point is, this, you know what I mean? I ain't teaching physics. They ain't paying me for that, hell. But this, that's what he did, all right? And that's Zebulon, that's a haven of ships, right? And it's a haven of ships today in the Western Hemisphere. It's been like that, all right, for the last 100 or so years, all right? That's who Zebulon is, and that's what the white man did. He made Zebulon into a haven of ships. Read the scripture one more time.
Zebulon shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships. Right? And his border shall be unto Zidon.
Right, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Zebulon shall be a haven of ships, a safe dwelling for ships to come through. and his border shall be unto Zidon. What does that mean? What does that mean? His border shall be unto Zidon.
Unto Zidon. Where Zebulun stays at, it shall be for the Most High, Zidon.
Say that one more time.
His border, meaning where Zebulun stays at, shall be where the Most High is.
Not Zion, but Zidon or Sidon. Have you ever heard of Tyre and Sidon?
Can. Yeah.
Who's Tyre and Sidon?
To my memory, there is two African nations, two.
You onto it?
Two places in Africa.
You onto it a little bit more? You onto it a little bit more?
So they're saying,
if you have your Bible dictionary, you can look it up. All right. This is not to be confused with Africa. This has nothing to do with Africa. Not Tyre and Sidon part I'm talking about, but Zebulun. All right. The 12 tribes of Israel, we ain't African at all. None of us are. Thank the Most High for that, for mercy. All right.
Zidon. Sidon is what I'm talking, right? A Phoenician city midway between Beirut and Tyre. Small offshore island made an excellent port.
Right, it was made an excellent port. Right, it was a port. Right, it was a Phoenician city, a Hamite city. Go ahead.
Right. In ancient times, they seem to have been linked by moles. Sidon appears. They have seemed to have been linked by moles. Sidon appears in the Old Testament as a chief city of Phoenicia.
All right, that's probably
and the name was.
Do they mention anything about ports or trade? Can't remember exactly what it says.
The city seems to have been a center of trade and enterprise.
Right. Tyre and Sidon was two famous port cities. They were on the coast. Right. Just think New York. Think how New York is famous for trade. That's why they had the World Trade Center there. It's famous for trade because they have a big port. Goods come in, goods leave. Like Baltimore. Baltimore is famous for trade. They have a big port. Where in Trinidad would be a big port?
Well, Port of Spain, everybody.
Port of Spain, right? You grew up calling it Port of Spain, you know. I mean, just you know, casually thinking it's just the name of a place, but it's called the Port of Spain. That's the capital, Port of Spain. Meaning why? Because that's where all the ships coming in from Spain at the time when Trinidad was a Spanish colony, right?
Right.
So Sidon is like that. And now go back to the scripture, read it one more time.
Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships.
Right.
And his border shall be unto Zidon.
Right. And his border shall be unto Zidon. Meaning what? His borders, his coast is going to be. Go ahead, he was going to say it.
Yeah, meaning his border shall be like a big enterprise, a trade.
A point of trade.
And that's
what the Panama Canal is. So much trade is going on there that the white man has decided he is going to expand the Panama Canal. You understand? Right. So much trade is going on there. You get the point?
Okay.
Right, so that's who Zebulon is, or Zabalawan. All right. You with me?
Yeah, the name of the name you said I said name earlier, was in name.
Where?
It had a name you had said the Guatemala, where they just do trades with the ships. It had a name you had said. I forgot.
Panama Canal.
Yeah. The Panama Canal.
Yeah, right? Panama Canal. Right, the Panama Canal it's a way for ships through Panama, but of course Zebulon is that entire region of Guatemala to Panama. Get the point?
Okay.
All right. All right, keep going.
Issachar is a strong ass crouching down between two burdens.
Hold on. I don't like how you read that.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. You read it right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Issachar is a strong ass crouching down between two burdens. Right? And he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute.
All right. So Issachar is a strong ass. All right. So of these 12 tribes, there's one nation on earth who is known for their work ethic and their work rate and for being strong. Right? Now, what is an ass?
An ass is like a small horse or a donkey.
A donkey. It ain't a full-blown tall horse. Smaller animal. But it's strong. It's a strong animal. Strong. All right? Issachar is a strong ass. All right? What does it say after that? Crouching down between two birds. Right? Think about it like if you think about a donkey getting down on its stomach to lift up burdens on the right side and on the left side, and then standing up again. You understand?
Right.
Like somebody lifting something heavy, getting down on the right side, getting down on the left side, and standing up again.
Right.
Get it?
Come. So in this state is about work or is about?
It's about work, but it's about their strength.
Their strength, right.
It's about how strong they are in the work. Right. They're strong, and then they're strong in work, in how they work. And that's Issachar. Like I don't know if you ever had any experience with Issachar, but when you come out here, you're going to see Issachar works, ridiculous hard. I mean, a ridiculous work rate. Like the white man, Trump talking all this, immigration stuff and trying to deport everybody. But brother, he need Issachar more than anybody because ain't nobody doing what Issachar doing. You get the point? And that's what this scripture here on Issachar is the proof of that. All right, we're gonna read on. You're gonna see it. Like the work Issachar do, ain't nobody else doing that. I guarantee you that.
Right.
You know what I mean? The ones of us that could do it, we ain't doing it. The heathens that could do it, not doing that. And then the heathens that would do it, they would die in second day. An East Indian try to do Issachar job, he is going to wither away right there picking, you know, lettuce and oranges. He's gonna just wither. He's gonna become part of the compost for the tree. A Somalian, forget about it. You understand? Like what Issachar does is what Issachar can do. Nobody else. You understand?
Right.
All right, keep reading. Read verse 15. No, where? No, where we at? Where we at? Yeah. Crouch down between two burdens, right? Read verse 15.
Can. And he saw that rest was good.
And he saw that rest was good. Till this day, right now, Mexico is the only country that has an official niggeritis time of the day. You know what I mean by niggeritis? You go to a slavery, after lunch is when everybody does what we just call in Trinidad, go slow, right? Everybody just be on go slow mode. Go slow, what you hurrying for? You are just done eat. Go slow. In Mexico, it's a national thing that they close up shop for an hour or two to sleep, to rest. It's called siesta. All right? Not fiesta, not party, but siesta, rest. Right? They call it siesta. It's a national thing. It's part of their culture. The white man done got in there so much, he is now trying to overturn the whole thing of siesta, because in the white man's mind, 1 hour or 2 hours I'm paying you to sleep is not profitable. You could be doing more work for me, making 2 hours more. White man like to do math. We look at it like, man, it's just an hour a day. He look at it like an hour a day, 5 hours a week, 20 hours a month. What, 20 by 12, 240 hours a year. He looking at that as profit. We don't look at things like how he does. You get the point? Because he a greedy bastard. You get the point? He's a bastard. But that's Issachar. Siesta. He saw that rest was good. It's good to work hard, eat, take a 5, get back up and work again. You understand? You ever see Issachar on a construction site? You ever see Issachar build a house? That thing going up fast, brother. Quick. Quick. Because of his work rate, his work ethic is strong, and he understands the profit of rest. He understands why rest is so good. You get the point?
Come.
Keep reading.
And the land, that it was pleasant.
Right? And he saw that the land was pleasant. What is that talking about? He's seeing that the land is good. This land is good.
Right, meaning the land he is working on, or?
Well, that's what you just gave me the answer. I was just about to ask you, how does Issachar know that the land is good?
Because he worked on the land and made it good.
He worked on the land. Issachar is into work in the land. Agriculture is a big part of it. Landscaping is a big part of them. You get the point? Like Issachar do, you know, for maybe now it's gotten more spread out. But in recent history, Issachar was doing damn near 90% of the landscaping in America. Right? You had them people in them big single family homes out in the suburbs. You know what I mean? For Trinidad, it would be, you know, down Westmoreland or up in Valsayn somewhere, Diego Martin somewhere, up in the hills. Them big old Porsche mansion type homes with them lawns. You get Issachar to come out there in a pickup truck with a couple lawnmowers, some machetes and some whackers. And brother, by the time you done, your lawn is about 2 inches high. And every tree shaped like a flamingo and an elephant doing a ballet. You get the point? Because they could work the land, they're skilled with it. You get the point?
Right, can.
Right? And so that the land was good. Agriculture. Right now, in every American restaurant, in your Chipotle, not just your Chipotle, but your Olive Garden, Red Lobster, whatever it is you want, every single lettuce and tomato and orange you eat, Issacharite has picked it first, has touched it. Because he's the one picking it. He's the one tending to it. He's the one getting it from the field to your plate. You understand? You with me?
Right, can.
Go ahead.
And bowed his shoulder to bear, and became his servant unto tribute.
Right, and he bowed his shoulder to bear. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Meaning it was meaning it was the work was hard, so he was, you know. Yes.
What would you bow? What would you bow your shoulders for?
If you work hard, it means you have a little.
If the work is?
It's hard.
If the work is hard. If the work is, if there's a heavy load, you bow down to brace and put it on your shoulder. All right? So Issachar, he ain't scared of no hard work. He bow his shoulder to bear the load. But what does it say after that?
And became a servant unto tribute.
And became a servant unto tribute. What does that part mean? What does that part mean? Became a servant unto tribute.
I don't want to say slave. He became a helper to the other people.
Tribute. What does tribute mean?
That's not tribute. An act, statement, or gift that is intended to show gratitude, respect, or admiration.
All right. So what are we talking about?
Servant, he became good at what he was doing.
No, read tribute one more time.
Tribute, an act, statement, or gift that is intended to show gratitude.
Right? An act, gift, or statement that is intended to show gratitude.
Right.
So that means he is a servant to somebody showing him gratitude, giving him a gift. or a statement showing him gratitude. All right. The brother Ike, I think it's Ike Chambers, he said payments. You on the money. You on the money. Meaning he became a servant to money. You understand? Issachar became a servant to money, to tribute. Meaning this, he works very hard. Issachar's problem is he'll work for very little. Once he gets paid to do it, he'll do it. This is what you had to understand about the 12 tribes. Everything you read here is our strengths and our weaknesses. Each tribe. Each tribe has a strength and a weakness. All right? They're giving you Issachar's strength and his weakness. All right? Benjamin's strength is what? Work, family. And it's also his weakness because he'll work himself to death. And family, his personal family, will take precedence over everything else. All right? Judah, a lion, brave, fearless, like to fight. Strength and weakness. He'll fight everybody, including his brothers. When we come into the truth, our strengths get improved and our weaknesses become strengths. Judah becomes more courageous, and now his enemies are no longer his brothers, but the white man and the African and the Chinese. You get the point? Benjamin, his work rate increases. He'll work, go everywhere, do everything. And now his family is not just his blood relatives, not just his mother, father, sister, brother, woman, children. But now this whole school becomes his family. So when he works, it's for his family. You get the point? Issachar, a strong brother, full of work. He'll work. But now he understands his value. And he ain't going to work for the white man for, $2.50 an hour. He'll come in here and work for his nation. You get the point? Now, outside the truth, the white man is able to manipulate and capitalize on our weaknesses. He's able to do it. He's able to now oppress Issachar, make Issachar come over here for quote unquote better jobs, right? Bear with me 1 second. For quote unquote better jobs. All right. Quote unquote better jobs. And then give Issachar all the so-called jobs according to the brothers over here, and make the brothers over here now look at Issachar as if, you understand, when the white man is the problem. You understand?
Right.
Like he uses our strengths and weaknesses to make sure and fuel his society. He'll make sure and fuel his society with it, right? And as you read through, you're going to see it. You understand? He knows Benjamin going to work hard. So, of course, make Benjamin do every goddamn thing. And never, ever bridge the gap between Benjamin and Judah. It'll always be a strife or a fight or one looking down on the other one. You get the point? Like, that's what the white man does with us. But when you come into the truth, you learn your strengths and weaknesses and learn how to look up with your brothers, the other tribes, to improve the nation. You understand?
Okay.
All right. Facebook, you'll bear with me 1 second. I'm just down timing out over and over. If you're here. All right.
Yeah. And so like those natural disasters like nature, those are like curses from the Lord or judgments from the Lord, right? For what with the earthquake? What's going on in Mexico right now? I know the.
Okay, it's whatever happens on the earth is the Lord's will. Whether it's an earthquake, a volcano, or a hurricane. All right, no matter what it is the Lord's will. So hold where you at. Go to Luke 13:1. Right, and that's a very good question. All right, and this is how I'm gonna answer it, because a lot of our people, we look at these things and be like, well, that's what I.S.U.P.K gets, or that's what them brothers in Texas get, because they ain't listening. They ain't want to come into the truth. Not only are we talking about the hurricanes, but the police brutality. You hear fake Israelites saying, I don't care about Trayvon Martin. I don't care about Eric Garner. Mike Brown, who cares about Mike Brown? Yes, the Lord allowed it to happen. Scripture says a bird doesn't fall out of the sky unless the Lord sanctioned it. So yes, the Lord allowed it to happen. But that doesn't mean you more righteous than him. That doesn't mean, Michael Brown was a wicked nigga and you just so goddamn righteous. That's not what it means. You have it, Luke 13?
Go
ahead.
Luke 13, verse 1. They were present at that season. Some that told him of the Galatians,
right,
whose blood Pilate had mingled with the sacrifices.
Right? Some was there who told Yahushua about the Galatians, who Pilate mingled their blood with their sacrifices. Go ahead.
And Yahushua answered and said unto them, suppose ye that these Galatians were sinners above all the Galatians, because they suffered such things.
Right? So now he answered them. He asking them a question to cut them. He's like, I guess you think that these Galatians was sinners above sinners because of what they suffered. What happened is Pilate marched his men in there while they had a holy day, a high holy day. All right? And while they had the high holy day, the Romans came in there and killed them. That's why he said he mingled their blood with their sacrifices. They were killed in the temple. You understand? Police kicking your door and kill you while you know what I mean, you carrying out your business. That's what happened to the Galatians, the brothers who was in Galatia. All right? And Christ is telling them, I know y'all think that these Negroes had to be wicked. They in there in the temple, they're doing what they're doing, and the Lord allowed this to happen to them. I know you thinking, yeah, they had to be the wickedest niggas on the planet Earth, because they don't wear no purple like them purple faggots, and they don't chase white women like them GMS faggots. So they is just the wickedest Negroes, right? That's what Christ is saying to them. Keep going.
I tell you nay.
Right? I tell you no. Not so. Not so at all. Go ahead.
But except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish.
Right? I tell you no. They ain't wicked above everybody else. But except you repent, you will all likewise perish. Meaning, don't worry about who wicked and who ain't wicked in Mexico. Don't worry about who wicked and who ain't wicked in Houston. Don't worry about who wicked and who is not wicked in Florida, in St. Thomas, in St. Croix, in Puerto Rico, in Dominica. Don't worry about none of that. Nigga, you stop eating pork. Stop eating shrimp. Stop getting high. Stop chasing hoes. Sisters, you stop being a goddamn bitch to everybody. You understand? You stop. You repent. You change. You worry about you before somebody kicks in your door and mingles your blood in your sacrifices. You get the point? That's what Christ is saying. Right? And that's how people in the world always think. Some people in the world, what would they say? You remember when Haiti had the earthquake? In 2012 or 11 or something like that?
Canaan.
Right? You remember the earthquake in Haiti? It killed 250,000 people? right? What were people in Trinidad saying about the earthquake?
Well, they were saying, down there's a voodoo island, you know, the Lord will be doing to kill them, you know.
Right?
Yeah.
They were saying, of course, Haiti, Levi, all that voodoo. All that voodoo, the Lord had it in for them, right?
Right.
Right. So the voodoo evil, but carnival in Trinidad ain't evil, right? Women dressing half naked, and of course the slew of lesbianism and homosexuality that going on now, that ain't evil. Two days of just raw sex and, you know, so-called playing mass and, you know, being half naked and glitter all over your goddamn body, women topless, some of them just full out naked and, you know, gyrating and going all over the street in a whole festivity of lust. Carnival means farewell to the flesh, right? All the bacchanal, yeah? You know that word bacchanal? That's a good word in Trinidad. Everybody, parents always use it. All this bacchanal. That word bacchanal comes from the Greek god Bacchus, which is the god of revelry and debauchery. Meaning what? Partying, drunkenness, and sex. So of course, people in Trinidad was like, yeah, them Haitians and them was doing evil. They're voodoo. All that voodoo they're doing. That's why the Lord shake the island. You better stop your evil before the Lord puts you to death on Carnival Tuesday. You get the point? Like it ain't your business to see who evil and who ain't evil when your ass is wicked as hell. Not you personally, but that's what people say. And I know that's why you're asking the question. I know you're asking the question because that's what people saying. So now you have to know how to answer them. You understand?
Yeah.
You got to know how to answer them. Let me give you a good example of how to take when something happens to one of the tribes or one of the islands or one of the brothers up here. You ever see 2 or 3, imagine you have 3 or 4 sons and daughters or brothers and sisters that are young. I'm talking about 5, 7, 9, 10, or 3, 4, 6, and 7, right? And they all play with each other, and they all, you know, they're tight. Now, what happens when one of them gets separated and get beat by the parents? What happens?
When the child gets separated and beat by the...
Just think about it. It's a family, right? You have 4 young kids. They're young, super young. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 3. They're playing. So you in the next room, you ain't hearing what's going on. But you hear glass break, flash, glass break, or vase break, or the TV. In 1 minute, you hear any TV. Next minute, you ain't hearing nothing. You come downstairs. The parent comes downstairs or come out the room or whatever. And you know what happens? Who did this? And of course, they find out whoever. All right? Or they don't find out nobody and start beating everybody, but they start beating from a side, meaning they start with one and they work their way to the next one because since nobody talking, everybody getting. What happens? What happens to the kids? Well, what do they do?
Well, it's like some of the kids might start to have a hatred for their parents. But again, like
young kids, young. What typically happens is the other siblings also start crying. While one of them gets beat, the others, they start crying because the other one getting beaten. Now, why are they crying? Are they crying because they know they're next? Maybe. Or are they crying because the sound of the person they was just laughing and having fun with is going through hell and going through pain? I think that's more it. You understand? Is later on when children grow up and they have that sibling rivalry, is when you have, you know, one brother or one sister setting up the other one to get beat or whatever, and they be laughing in the next room. But there's a time when the love is more pure amongst the brothers and sisters, where if one getting beaten, the others start crying. Sometimes you might even see one of the kids go up to the parents and say, "Mommy, no," or "Daddy, no, don't do it." Because they love this brother or love this sister. You get the point?
Okay.
That's how we should be when we see the earthquake in Haiti, when we see the hurricanes in Puerto Rico, when we see the earthquakes in Mexico, when you see the hurricanes in Texas. That's how we should be. Pray for mercy. Let the Lord have mercy on them. Pray for the camps in those areas to get strengthened up. Pray for the Lord to give the brothers in the school the spirit to teach more, so more of our people could change, so nobody have to die. Because if you really love your brothers and sisters, even though they made a mistake, and even though they broke the glass, or they broke a vase, or they was kicking the ball in the house, you don't want them to die. You don't want them to die. If it's up to you, you would take the blows with them. That's love. That's brotherhood. But Christianity will teach you to be a wicked, selfish nigger. Wicked and selfish. And you know what you're going to do? Not you personally, but you know what Christians do? Well, all that voodoo going on in Haiti, that's what they get. As if Christianity isn't witchcraft. As if the Christian church is not witchcraft. Christian church is the only voodoo on the planet Earth. That nonsense in Haiti is nothing but herbs and plants. Christianity is witchcraft. That's voodoo. That's juju. That's obia. That's your black magic. That's your real Santeria. You get the point?
Okay.
You understand? That's the real deal. So what Christ is saying is, don't worry about who wicked and who ain't wicked. That's the Lord's business. You just make sure you right. You just make sure you doing what I say to do before I fall on your head too. You understand?
Okay.
All right, cool. Let's get back on. Let's do one more. The next tribe is Dan. We could do Dan, but I definitely want to get some of this history with them East Indians, brother. Salakia. They don't start now, and I ain't stopping until I finish. Break the whole thing down with them. I go in deep into the history, all the economy, the politics, and everything, and make sure people understand within the islands, the East Indian and the Chinese has replaced the white man. They're the devil. They're a new devil because the white man ain't there no more. All right.
Okay.
1 second. Right, I'm looking up this. The brother that sent me a short video of Mexico City. It's sitting on top of a man-made lake that I.S.U.P.K made with their hands. A little bit long.
Put in mud and rocks to literally build themselves more land. People. Middle of a lake.
All right, 1 second. Let me show you this here.
By 1324 AD, the Aztecs had finally reached their promised land, an island in the middle of a lake. In this most unlikely of sites, they would somehow build Tenochtitlan, one of the most awesome cities the world had ever seen. But how could a city built on a small island hold a population that would soon swell to 250,000 people? Using the simple but ingenious method of pounding stakes into the lake bed and then lashing them together with reeds, the Aztecs poured in mud and rocks to literally build themselves more land. They expanded their small island into a vast 2,500 acres. When the Spanish conquistadors first saw the Aztec city in 1519, they were amazed.
There in the center of the lake was this gleaming white city. It was something they'd never seen before. And for us, we could almost imagine as Dorothy looking at at Oz for the first time. It was far larger at 250,000 people than any city they had ever seen in Europe.
By the 1500s, Tenochtitlan was a teeming metropolis.
Right? So now the white man would come in and, of course, wipe everything out. But that's there is a short, little video to show you Issachar's work rate. You understand? Issachar was able to build that city and expand it using, stakes and stones and mud and expand the city out from a small island on a lake and turn it into, a major city. You understand? Of course, the white man come in there with all his lust. He just destroy Issachar. You get the point? He fully destroy Issachar. And now you want to act like, Issachar is persona non grata. He don't belong here. The white man is the devil. All right? Let's keep reading quickly and then we'll get to the Eastern there.
Right, can. The 16th. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel.
Right? Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes. At this stage here, Dan was counted as part of the 12. All right? Dan was counted as part of the 12. You had Judah, Benjamin, Reuben, Naphtali, Issachar, Ephraim, Manasseh, Zebulun, Asher, Dan. What else am I missing? Gad,
Simeon.
Gad and Simeon. All right, Levi was the priesthood. Levi wasn't part of the 12, but Levi was the priesthood. As time went on, Dan dwindled away as a tribe, and Levi took his place. That's why in Revelations, you don't see Dan as one of the 12 tribes on the 12 gates in the kingdom of heaven. All right, but you see Levi. All right, that's why here the prophecy was saying in the last days, Dan will judge Israel as one of the 12 tribes, meaning Dan is in all of us. Dan got absorbed into all the tribes. All right, and that's how the Lord did it. His spirit is still here, but he as a tribe isn't. You understand? He as a tribe isn't, but he sits in every single tribe in Israel, and he'll judge Israel as one of the other tribes. You get the point? Go ahead.
Dan shall be his serpent by the way, and adder in the path that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward.
Right? Dan shall be a serpent in the way. Right? Meaning, if there's a snake in the way that the horse is riding, but you can't see the snake. You're not seeing nothing, and then the snake jumps up and bites the horse. And the horse, of course, throws the rider off. That's how Dan will be. Like an adder in the way, like a snake in the way, a death snake. Meaning you can't see him. He's somewhere right there where you're walking, but you can't see him. You get the point?
Right.
Right, go ahead.
I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord.
Right? He's waited on the Lord to come and save us. That's that. Go ahead.
Right. God, a troop shall overcome him.
Right? Who is God today? God.
The
native
Indians, yeah.
Right? God is your native Indians. All right? God, a troop shall overcome him. North American Indian. They made 178 treaties. The white man made 178 treaties with them and broke every last one. Right? Broke every last one. Technically, the tribe of God is still at war with the white man today. Right? That's why you see all the Native Indian protests, you know, the North Dakota pipeline. Right? Because that's their land, but the white man is encroaching on their land unlawfully. And you would see it over and over. You would see all these things happening because technically the tribe of God is still at war with the white man today. All right? Read it again.
God, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Right? God, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Meaning what? God is going to get his revenge. You get the point? God is going to get his revenge. Right? A troop shall overcome him. What happened to God? The North American cavalry, the U.S. Army marched on God and slaughtered God. Right? Look up Andrew Jackson. When you get some time, go look up that name. Andrew Jackson. He was a military general that later became one of America's presidents. And he was a vile, violent monster to God. You understand? Right. He was a vile, vile monster to God. And he used the American military to destroy God. Look up a place called Wounded Knee. Wounded Knee. Right? Wounded Knee. There was a big battle at Wounded Knee. There's a movie, HBO shows it every year. It's called Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. It's a very long movie. Some people might find it kind of boring. I do not, brother, because you see, of course, you know, the white man gonna put a little bit of his fiction in there, but it's showing you historically what happened to God, and the movie is told through a Godite who was taken as a child and put into one of their boarding schools. Like the white man made boarding schools where he would take East Indians, not East Indians, Salaki, where he would take Native Indians and young Native Indians, kids, and put them in the school and cultivate them. What he would say is there was a saying, I forget which president said it, kill the Indian, save the man. Right? Kill the Indian, save the man. Of course, Indian, you know, means savage. Kill the savage, save the man. Meaning, in this boarding school, they would learn English. They would learn Christianity. He would cut their hair, cut their braids. They wouldn't wear the fringes no more, and the moccasins and the leather. But he would put them in, you know, suits and ties. All right, suits and ties. But also in that school, to get them to learn English, they would crack their skulls open. They would beat them in the damn head until they learned the English. More children died than survived learning English. All right? Beneath those schools were mass graves of young Gadite children with cracked skulls, with holes in their skulls, right? Captain Kapash did an excellent video, a few excellent videos, let me say, on it. You'll go to I.S.U.P.K. Indianapolis and look it up. You're going to see he did a few of them. It's like 4 or 5 videos he did on the Native Indians and how, you know, the struggle they had to go through at that time. Then he played an interview, brother, with this Native Indian brother who he was telling the story. The brother is maybe like 70 years old now. Just found the video. I'm gonna post the link for you, but I want to play the part where the bear with me one. I want to play the part where the brother is an interview he had. He had played with this Native Indian man who was older. He was a survivor from those boarding schools. And he's telling you the story of how they would beat them. How they would beat them. All right. 1 second, bear with me.
In this book right here.
Right, this is a young Captain Kapash. I hope he ain't mad at me. This is when he was an officer of 50. He was doing extensive historical work and made some excellent videos. The content is insane. It's 50 minutes long. You have some time, you'll go check it out, all right? The name of the video is Kill the Indian, Save the Man, the truth about Native Indian boarding schools. Come on, man. Come on. What the hell did I just do?
The reservations, all right? They tell about detailed stories and pictures about what's called boarding schools, man. Them boarding schools was hell for the Native American Gadites, man.
All right, so you see this picture here, right, Galawan?
Come on.
All these, this is, brother, I can't even number how many kids I'm seeing here. They're all, let me see, I'm gonna help you all out on Facebook. I know it's going in and out. You're going to bear with me. All right. It's going in and out, but all these are kids that they took, you know, from Native Indian reservations. They just took them while they were young, 3, 4, 5, and now they were going to make them Christian, good Christian kids. You see how much of them can't even fit in it. This has to be, brother, this has to be what, 30 going across and maybe what, 10 going down. You're probably looking at 300-400 kids right here. And this is one school. And in the back, in all black, is the white man. You know what I mean? Always in all black, like the Grim Reaper, the Death Angel himself. All right, go ahead.
The white man pushed them off into the desert and consolidate all the resources, but guys had nothing, and then tell them, you should send your kids to this boarding school since you can't take care of them. So they send them to these boarding schools, and in the boarding schools, all the American Indian guys had to lose their culture, had to lose everything about them.
Right? Galawan, you're looking at the two pictures?
Come.
All right. Who are those two? Well, do you see that is two different pictures on the screen?
Yeah, one looking like a white man, one is a Gadite.
They're both the same person.
They're both the same.
They're both the same person. Before they caught him. This is him after.
All right, gone.
This is him after. Now imagine what he had to go through, the beatings and the torture to get to that point. And he a young brother right here. You understand?
Right.
Right, and you see the heading of the chapter, Civilizing the Indian. Right? You see this right here again, right?
Right.
What does this look like?
Before and after.
Same is the before and after.
Before.
But if you didn't know, you would have think it's two different. You know, one is Native Indian, one is white people. Nah.
Well, white people, come.
Them is siblings. They're all brothers and sisters, or all brothers, I should say, all brothers. And this is them after the boarding school. Right? This is the before. This is the after. Right? Same thing here. Before and after.
Because they know it's
right. I'm gonna skip forward to that interview, brother.
Document is an official and kept great side. That's
state.
Right. It's a very good tape the brother did. And if you really want some knowledge on God and how the white man destroyed God, make sure you watch that tape. Kill the Indian, save the man. I'll post the link in the chat. All right.
Among the church, you go to the church, will hold to them and love your peace. That's what they women population. It's right. They all have intermarriage took place.
There's a certain part of the video I'm trying to get for you all, where he played an interview of one of the survivors of that boarding school. Yeah, this is it here, brother. Brother, be prepared to cry, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Was compromised and stolen from them.
This is an older Godite brother. You see, he grew his braids back. He telling his story. He's already in tears because the shit is really heartbreaking what this white man does. And then you have bastards like Trump talking about illegal immigrants. And then them well-to-do, well-off white supremacists, white privileged Republicans and Democrats talking about this is their country. Listen to what this brother had to say.
Language. Whenever I talk, it came up.
Right? He's saying that even though they was trying to teach him the English language, the age they got him, whenever he spoke, his native tongue would come out. Just like if you meet a Hispanic, an Issacharite or El Salvadorian, I mean, maybe sometimes a Puerto Rican, but Puerto Rico, because of its American connection, you have the English there. But definitely like an Issacharite, El Salvadorian, you would hear them speaking, and then in between the speech, they would use certain Spanish words, or the accent would come back, and you would realize, oh, this is a Issacharite talking to El Salvadorian. So he telling you, as he learning the English, you know, the language would come out.
Would come. Whenever I talk, I get it.
Right? You see how his eyes roll up in his head, Ak?
Okay.
You understand the kind of psychological damage you do to a nation. This is one man. Imagine how much other people. Now you realize why we so hooked on drugs. Now you realize why we so much alcoholics. Now you realize why our society is the way it is. Where they say the reservation has the highest rate of suicide on the entire earth. Again, that anytime he talk, even though they're teaching him the English, the native Indian language would come out and they would beat him in his head. Look how his eyes roll up as he remembered.
Whenever I talk, I get it. I got hits so much I lost my tongue.
He said he got hit so much that he lost his tongue. White man is the goddamn devil, brother. White man is the devil the Bible speaks of. And every other nation that took part in our destruction, they're going to have to pay for what they did to us.
I lost my native tongue. Everything I remember was my enemies. What does I.S.U.P.K means? That's the name. Korean.
Kill the Indian.
You understand?
And save the man.
Yeah.
What does I.S.U.P.K means? That's the name. Korean.
Kill the Indian and save the man.
That was the theme of how they would do things. Their whole motive was kill the Indian, save the man. Meaning, if he can't speak English, beat him in his head until he could speak English. Just beat him and berate him and degrade him until he could speak English. That's the tribe of God. A troop overcame them, but they shall overcome in the end. You understand? They will overcome in the end. So for tonight, we're going to stop there, and then we're going to pick up on it again next week or the week after. But I want to get some of this East Indian thing out. I may use up all the time on the 12-tribe breakdown. All right? You know for sure every week I have to go at the throat. I got to go at the neck. Salakia. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
okay, before you go,
go ahead.
I just want to know, were we fighting?
What do you mean?
Like the guys, when that was happening, were they fighting to escape? Were they?
Brother,
what was good?
It was a full-out war. God was tearing Esau apart. I tell you, I'm gonna post the links. I'm gonna post the links to Kapash tapes. God was tearing Esau up. But as long as the Lord not with you, you could only succeed for so long. You get the point?
Right.
Like this was our captivity. There was no way we was going to overthrow Esau. Remember, God worshiping, you know, the sun, the moon, the stars, the wolf, the river. If he wins and pushes Esau back, what will happen?
Esau.
No. What would God think? What would if you, before coming into the truth, you in the Christian church or the mosque or whatever, and you fight and you overthrow Esau and you take back your land, what would you think to yourself?
I would think that I won. That the Lord with me.
No. You would think that you don't need God. You could do this on your own.
Right.
But you would think the Lord with you, but you would think the Lord of Christianity is with you, or the Lord of Islam is with you. At that point, nobody could come and show you, the children of Israel, we came over here on ships because you're winning. Get the point?
Right.
You're going to have to lose to understand that the Lord is the only one could deliver you. And that's what ended up happening to God. Over time, brother, once the white man came in with them guns, it was a wrap. And of course, Esau would use different Gadite tribes to fight other Gadite tribes. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So once that started happening, it was a wrap. So of course, hell yeah, they was fighting back. Go look up the Lowry gang. I'll post the link to that too. General Hyman brought out that history before. The Lowry gang. Where Esau came in and took their women and kept them prisoner, thinking that those men would surrender. The leaders of the Lowry gang went and took the white man's woman and told them, as long as you have our woman, we're going to keep yours. And then the white man let their women go. The Lowry gang was no joke. But of course, that's not common history, because that type of history would instill a certain amount of pride in black people, black and Hispanic and Native Indian people, and the white man doesn't want that. You get the point?
Right.
White man doesn't want that. All right? Boy, right up on the time. Okay, I may have to start this again next week with the East Indians. I will touch on a little bit of it now. All right? I would touch on some of it now, but I think I'm going to start next week with it again, because it's a good bit of info. But we'll start on a little bit of it now, all right?
Right.
All right, so give me the...
So go to the link, right?
Yeah, give me the article that I sent you. I'm going to tell you where to start reading from. Go down. When you open it up yet?
Yeah, come on.
All right. I want you to scroll down to indentured servants.
Come on. Indentured servants. In his magnum opus titled Capitalism and Slavery in 1938, Dr. Eric Williams asserts the immediate successor of the Amerindians, African but poor whites.
Mm-hmm.
They were regarded as indentured servants because before leaving England, they had to sign a contract binding them to service for a stipulated period. in return for their passage. Others were criminals, convicts, who were sent by the British government to serve for a specific time on plantations in the Caribbean.
All right, so the successors of the Amerindians, which would be the Taino Indians, right? One section of the Taino Indian. Now the Caribbean and Arawaks, right? The Amerindians or the American Indians. They started bringing in the first indentured servants were poor white trash, for want of a better expression. It was poor white people from Britain who signed a contract and come over, and they had to work a certain amount of time in order to go back. And of course, to go back, it would be free to go back once they work. All right, that was your indentured labor. All right. Keep going. Dynamics of Indian arrival. So we're going to start it a little bit just to give you a little bit of the info. We'll do about 10 minutes of it. And then next week, you know, from the top of the class, we're going to recap this, what we're doing here, and go more into the history of it and see exactly what was going on, what made them come across. And of course, then we go, as the weeks go on, we're going to go more into the economic rise of the East Indians, the racial tension, etc., etc. All right?
Okay. Dynamics of Indian Arrival. In his book titled A Post-Emancipation History of the West Indies in 1975, Professor Isaac Dukan suggests that immigration to the Caribbean was very attractive to the for the following reasons.
Right? Immigration to the Caribbean was attractive to the East Indians for the following reasons, meaning the East Indian did not come to the Caribbean through slavery. No one kidnapped him from the shores of, Bombay. You understand? No one went to Calcutta and kidnapped him from the countryside and put him on the bottom of a boat. This nigga applied for, travel documents, bought a ticket, and rode a boat on his own, willing to come over here. And the prospect of coming over to Trinidad, to Guyana, to St. Lucia, to Jamaica, it was very attractive to him compared to what was going on in the piss hole they call India. All right, go ahead.
The establishment of the British factory system in India had destroyed Indian domestic industries, including the spinning of cloth, and tens of thousands were thrown out of work.
Right, what is this talking about? The Industrial Revolution, right? The Industrial Revolution, where the white man was able to implement energy being driven by coal and steam. That's what factories would operate on. Coal. They burn the coal, they get the steam, driving them engines, driving all the machines. And of course, the East Indian industry was largely agricultural and textile, clothing, making silk and, weaving fabric, right? But of course, if you have a machine, it could weave faster than some East Indian could sit down with a frame and knock down, a coil of cotton or coil of linen or coil of silk. You get the point? So the factory now take over from their daily jobs. It's just like if you go into McDonald's and there ain't nobody behind the counter, but it's a machine, like an ATM machine, and you order your burgers right there. Right? So many of the McDonald's counter people would be out of business. So there was tens of thousands of East Indians out of work after the British Industrial Revolution in India. All right? Where they was able to come in, totally take over, colonize India, and now make manufacturing cheap, lower the overhead so that they can maximize their profit at the expense of the East Indian. So now you're already seeing that they should be able to understand having a superior power come in and totally oppress your people, because that's oppression, right? So they decided to leave East India and travel halfway across the earth for pay. All right, keep going.
2, famine due to fallen crops and high food prices.
Right, they were suffering a serious famine in India due to failing crops and high food prices. The crops were failing because people was out of work, didn't have money to keep up with everything. High food prices because, of course, with the British colonization, they wasn't allowed to be homegrown anymore. They had to now import. And with that, you have higher food prices. You get the point?
Right.
Go ahead. And of course, famine, you know, Lord have a constant famine in them type of countries because of how evil they are. Go ahead.
3, the promise of land for themselves.
Right? They were told that they would get their own land once they came over here. That didn't happen to us. You get the point?
Right.
That did not happen to us. And that's why any East Indian talking about he went into slavery too, he's a lying bastard. And you need to pray that God puts him to death. And go home that night after he said that, say, nah, you ain't no slave. You ain't come across here. You sign a contract to come here. My people were ripped from their land and came here. And came here in slavery. Go home and pray that that Indian drop dead. Get the point? Go ahead.
4, the promise of higher wages in Trinidad and Guyana.
Right, Trinidad and Guyana, as we read on, or next week we'll cover it more. Trinidad and Guyana was the destination of the majority of East Indians. There was close to 150,000 in Trinidad, damn near 250,000 that settled in Guyana between 1845 and 1917. I think that's when the indentureship ended. Right, so in that just around 50-year period, a little bit over 70 years, I think it was. You had you had damn near 1 million people coming over, or 500,000 people coming over, but the majority landed in Trinidad and Guyana. All right, go ahead. Guyana is in South America. All right, go ahead.
In India, laborers were paid between 1.5 to 2.5.
1.5
to 2.5 pence a day.
Right? They were paid between 1.5 to 2.5 pence a day. How much money did the slaves get?
None.
Nothing. So don't tell me nothing about an East Indian was a slave too. And we come from the same place. Don't tell me nothing about Jahaji Bai, which is their word for brotherhood of the boat. Don't tell me nothing about that. Go ahead.
In Trinidad, they could earn 2 shillings a day. And in Guyana, 1 shilling and 9 pence a day.
Right? So now in India, they was getting 1.5 to 2.5 shillings per day. In Trinidad, they could earn 2 shillings a day. And in Guyana, 1 shilling and 9 pence a day. You get the point? Right? Now, go ahead.
Yeah, so like pence is 1 cent and shilling is 24 cents.
A shilling, 1 shilling is 24 pence. Salakia, 1 shilling is 12 pence. So in India, they was working for, let's put it in dollars and cents. In India, they was working for $1.50 to $2.50 per day. In Trinidad, they was getting $24 a day. In Guyana, they was getting what is that? 12 and 9 is how much? $21 a day. So hell yeah, why not leave India? Why not leave Bombay and Slumdog Millionaire? Why not leave poor piss holes and come across? It makes sense. It makes good sense, right?
Right.
Now this is the sleeper here. This is the Wizard of Oz behind the damn curtain. Britain colonized East India and brought in their factories and destroyed the East Indian economy and workforce. Britain also colonized Trinidad, right? That's who Trinidad got its last independence from in 1962. Britain gave Trinidad to India. You understand?
Right.
Britain gave Trinidad to India. Britain came into India and got goods for cheap and ran off all the workers. And they said, you know what? We have a colony over in the West. With free labor, y'all could go across there and run amok. And that's what the East Indians did. So when you hear me say the Fat El Razak should sink, it should have sink. It should have sunk to the bottom of the goddamn Atlantic or the Pacific or whichever one it is. All right?
Right.
Keep reading.
5. Criminals escaping from police and afraid of returning to the village, as well as loafers could go to the colonies.
Right? So you had East Indian criminals who running from the police, running from the government. If they wanted an escape, they could have jumped on a boat and go halfway across the world to Trinidad and work for $24 a day when all they was getting is $1.50 a day. It makes sense to go, right?
Right.
It make proper sense to go. It make good sense to go. All right? I think we're going to stop there. We're going to stop there for today. Because, boy, I'm going to need some time to fully go into this thing here. And you know what I mean? I have something personal against them. Just like the white man. You understand? And we're going to get into the history of it and understand everything and understand how much these heathens oppress us. Right? We'll find out how much they oppress us. You could read the article if you want to. You could go through it. All right? You're going to find out some interesting things in the next couple of weeks as we go into the history of the East Indian indentureship in Trinidad. And why I say they're just the replacement for the devil. You understand? They're vice devil. They're acting in place of the white man who is the devil because they oppress us daily. And they act like they started from scratch just like us when they did not. They got a head start. They were given lands. They were given wages. They were given contracts. You understand? They were allowed to keep their tongue. We just watched the video of the native Indian brother who they beat him into talking English. They were allowed to keep that filthy Hindi language. You understand? So don't never let no East Indian tell you or try to drag you anyway and talk about your people this and your people that and you're just a bunch of monkeys and hyenas and all of that nonsense. When they was in bed with the white man to sit over the top of us, and they're doing it till this very single day. But nobody don't ever talk about their history. Nobody don't ever talk about how they got to where they got. But we're going to bring it out in class in the I.S.U.P.K, all right? So you stay strong, all right? Just keep fishing, right? The brothers going to come in, they're going to stick. The brothers going to come in, they're going to stick. Don't worry about anything else. You just keep studying, keep in class, and keep fishing, brother. And you're going to raise up a mighty school out there in Trinidad. And you're going to give brothers a chance to live and breathe again. Because now we have to look at this East Indian like if he's so much better than us when he is inferior. Everything about him is inferior. He's weak and he's stupid. He's inferior. You have no morals, no integrity. An East Indian would give you his wife to have sex with if he could get a raise on his job. Am I lying, Galawan? Have you ever heard them stories? You ain't never hear them? Oh, you don't? You never hear about. You ain't never hear them stories. Good. That's good. You ain't never hear about them. Good. I have though, because I've worked with them. I've worked with them, and I've heard the stories. I've known a couple of people who went ahead with the heathen woman, where they bring it to their house for dinner and tell their wife to seduce you and have sex with you so that you, being the boss, could give them a raise or give them a managerial position. Them is a filthy, disgusting. I know you heard about them killing their grandparents for land.
Right, yeah. Brothers killing brothers for land. Yeah.
All right, well, good. Now everybody know I ain't crazy because the brother know what I'm talking about. All right, you probably ain't hear about them giving over their wife and their daughters for sexual favors so that they could come up in life. But I know you know about them killing their grandparents for land. And you will see where all the land come from. That land goes back in history with this indentureship. All the land them East Indians have, it goes back with this indentureship. And they're known for taking the old grandmother or grandfather that can't write, taking the thumbprint, signing it, printing it on the lease, and then giving them gramazone, or which is a we decide, or stifling them to death so that the land could pass on to them. And that's apparently their religion teaches that. All right. But we're gonna get more next week, all right? So make sure you just keep fishing and we're gonna rock with it, all right, Doc?
Right.
All right, Doc. So for tonight, we're gonna close it off there. I don't want to get I know Karamia, I don't know about that. Karamia, let's say, yeah, I know that in the military. Most are in Christ. That's right. At least I know I ain't fully crazy. Hell. All right. But that's how they do. So next week, we're gonna get into more about it and more the history of it. And we're going to do that further on because I think just like here, you have to show brothers who the white man is because everybody thinks the white man is your friend. Brothers in the Caribbean, you must know that the East Indian is a vile bastard. He is a vile, disgusting bastard and he oppresses black people daily. And you have to know the truth about him so we can start separating from them. All right? So we're going to end it there for tonight. All right, Galawan?
All right.
All right, so Lord, I'll see you next week.
All right. Shalom, Yahweh, Shimya, Shabrakatha.
Yahweh, Shimya, Shabrakatha. Yahweh, Shimya, Shabrakatha. Yahweh, Shimya, Shabrakatha.